This 2020-21 Vendee Globe Round the World Race Report is brought to you by Pantanius Professional Race Cover, your tailor-made racing yacht insurance.
If you're taking your racing to the next level, make sure your insurance is up to the challenge. Pantanius Professional Race Cover.
After being rescued from his life raft 6 days ago by fellow competitor John Le Cam, PRB skipper Kevin Escoffier was plucked from the Indian Ocean by the French Marine National, after jumping clear of his rescuer's Imoca 60 in a carefully choreographed maneuver, early this Sunday morning, some 360 nautical miles north of the remote Crozet Islands. Escoffier was quickly taken from a semi-rigid inflatable, to board the 93.5-meter-long, 2,600-ton Floreal-class frigate, which has a complement of 84 crew. The mission was accomplished swiftly and without setback around daybreak. This morning, Crozet is plus 4 hours UTC. Le Cam wished his passenger Escoffier well, and continued on his race, lying in 6th position at 396 miles behind leader Charlie Dallin, Apivia, and 15 miles behind 5th-placed Ben Dutroux, Omeo Water Family. For his time and miles lost while out of full race mode, Le Cam will be granted a time compensation by the international jury, as also will Boris Hermann, Sea Explorer Yacht Club de Monaco, and Yannick Bestaven, Mater Koch, who went to help in the search for Escoffier after his Imoca suddenly split virtually into two, when it buried its nose in a big wave. Meantime, Le Cam's request for additional food to replace that required to feed shipwrecked Escoffier was granted, and the 61-year-old Le Cam, who enjoys fine food, took a bag containing dry crispy rolls, salted butter and fine henaf bread and pâté. Escoffier will be taken back to Reunion Island where the Nevos is stationed and is due to arrive there next Friday. Le Cam chuckled, "I'm alone again. After 2 of us being aboard, alone again. There they go." Kevin is in great shape. He is going to enjoy a hot shower, said Frédéric Barbe, captain of the Nevos. And so a great start to a beautiful day. At the top of the 29-boat fleet, Charlie Dallin, Thomas Ryant, and Louis Burton, all jibed onto the new northwesterly breeze which heralded the arrival of the new, active low-pressure system. Burton had dropped a few miles to Ryant, and Dallin, because of his autopilot, and other unspecified issues, but he said today that the seas have evened out after a week of crossed, agitated waves. His autopilot issues had required him to helm his bureau valet for long periods, before finally effecting a fix in collaboration with his technical team. Louis Burton said, "I'm pretty burned out and I admit that I came close to having to abandon. Now recovered to be back up to second, 13 miles ahead of Thomas Ryant. Now the strategy is to try and stay ahead of the front. We are on it early. I have lost a bit of ground so I am not sure where I am, but the idea is to go fast and as far as possible on this port jibe, and either I manage to stay ahead of this front, which is going to be very strong and which would be good, or it will go over us in about 2 days and then it will be a starboard jibe to just carry on the course. I have not seen the files from midnight, but those are 1800 hours show a transition that did not look great around the Kerguelen Islands. It could be pretty amazing if we can do it all on one tack ahead of the front, but there are going to be quite a lot of maneuvers. What I have to absolutely do is tidy the boat before I get some sleep. Having a mess just leads to more problems, accidents. I am then going to just go as fast as possible. I tell myself that the others must also have issues to deal with and you just have to hang in there. Their dilemma, indeed that of all the lead group, is a front which arrives next Tuesday, dark red spot on the weather maps yielding 45 to 50 knots and 7.5 meters wave troughs. Tomorrow they will have to make a choice. Either they go through the front and find themselves in the heart of the storm, or they slow down and the front will go faster than them, explained Sébastien Jossa, Vendée Globe weather consultant. Leader Charlie Dallin seems to be taking the more conservative option, as might be expected of a skipper with a 200-mile lead and a boat believed to be still close to 100% of its potential as the fastest, newest most proven foiling boat, which has already won last year's Transat Jacques Vabre. He appeared to already have slowed down today Sunday. Of this leading group of 11 skippers, all are wondering what to do. I plan to tack around a bit, said Benjamin Dutroux, OMIA, Water Family, still impressive and keeping up with the race pace. Some 450 miles further back to the west, Smiles are back on the faces of Hermann Attanasio and Clarice Creamer. The 12th and 13th placed skippers, 16 miles apart, are finally finding stronger winds after light air slowed them, over 15 knots since this morning, and they have had fun chatting on WhatsApp. Attanasio, skipper of Pure Best Western Hotels and Resorts, remarked, "I have really picked up speed. The boat is hitting the waves, there's a hell of a racket, and what is good now is that this going to last for 5 days. When you miss a system and a bit surfing session during a transatlantic race you blame yourself, but here on the Vendee Globe you're actually happy as it gives you a bit of a break. Respite isn't really on the menu some 600 miles further west." Alan Rura, La Fabrique, Stéphane Le Derison, Time for Oceans, Armel Tripon, L'Occitan en Provence, and Arnaud Boisiers, La Mia Colline, Artisans Artipole, cross Cape of Good Hope today in succession after a spell of very light winds. They are seeing a very tough depression descending on them from South Africa from late today. They will be stuck in front of the AEZ and have to go upwind as long as it does move further south, notes Vendee Globe meteorologist Christian Dummert. It is not looking like fun at all. It really will not be really easy to manage, confirmed Alan Rura.
So it's been a complicated week for the Vendee Globe fleet. We've seen 5 boats now having to retire, and it's been some really tricky, tough conditions, lots of waves and lots of wind. But we can see the weather ahead is not looking much easier, unfortunately. We've currently got Boris on board Sea Explorer Yacht Club de Monaco. He's up to the northern group, and we can have a look and see what weather features we have at the moment. So this is the wind at 1600 UTC, the GFS file. We can identify some of the features. So firstly, there's this low pressure over here, quite far south of the fleet, and you have a second low pressure down to the southeast of the fleet, and then Boris is sailing just to the southeast, this high pressure over here in sort of 20-25 knots of southwesterly wind. So what we're going to see in the next few days is this low pressure is going to make its way up towards the fleet, towards the northeast. And as it does so, we might see it start to intensify, and we can have a look at why that's going to happen. But firstly, let's have a look at the sat image of it. So you can see, you can really identify this low pressure. It's probably centered somewhere here. You have a bit of circulation there, but it's this cloud front, which is kind of marking this low pressure, and that's really useful to be able to see the location of it. In the next 24 hours, so this is the GFS file in 24 hours time, Boris will have sailed a few hundred miles to the east by this point, and you can see that the low has made its way up towards the northeast slowly. You see the front here, which is probably marked by that cloud on the sat image. What's going to happen is we're going to start to get some warm air input from over here, and that's really going to make this front really strong and active. And already this low is quite windy. It's going to get even windier and even more intense. So we can see how that happens. So here's 24 hours. If we skip forward to 48 hours, you can see here now this front has got really strong and really powerful, up to 40-45 knots, and some of the boats ahead of Boris at the moment, like Apivia and Linked Out, might end up having to deal with this very strong winds, so could be quite tricky. But what that means for the strategy is Boris will be sailing in the north westerly winds ahead of the front, and as the front passes over, probably about 48 hours from now, Boris will be around here. The wind will do a big shift down to the southwest, and as it does so, he'll be sailing on port jibe like this, and then he'll make a jibe down towards the southeast. But really the fleet have to really manage their boats and really make sure that they don't damage anything, and keep an eye out for the conditions. Could be very windy, very wavy again, 45 to 50 knots, and potentially some big seas of 6 or 7 meters. So let's see how they get on, but this is what the Southern Ocean is.
This is a totally different story. We are now in a good angle with the waves. Look at the curves the pilot is doing. have to increase a bit the target speed. But there's no pounding, no stuffing in. We're nicely going with the waves. The pilot is a bit too reactive here. I will adjust it in a minute. Now it's a bit slow, but we don't bang, we don't bounce, we don't hit. This is going with the elements. This is what you wish for. Don't know how many hours this will last, but this is really nice. A good day today. You know, everything changes with the conditions. The conditions determine everything. And accelerate. You're a little bit stuck. Very gentle. There's no suffering for the boat. I'm not being thrown around. And yeah, this is a good start to the day. For sure the day will be tough at the end. We will be J33 reefs in the front. We will get hammered. Well, nothing we can do about that. And another one. The swell is more organized. Yeah. Very good. Okay, gotta fiddle around a bit with the pilot now.
See our Vendee Globe reports on youtube.com World on Water, or our website, boatson.tv. This 2020-21 Vendee Globe Round the World Race Report was brought to you by Pantanius Professional Race Cover, your tailor-made racing yacht insurance.